Hello everyone and welcome to another video today on the channel. Today we're going to be discussing David Raya and how good David Raya actually is. I have a question for you all. Is David Raya the Premier League's best goalkeeper? In my opinion, he is. Maybe Alisson competes with him for Liverpool when he's fit, but the stats do not back up that. The reason I say this is obviously he hasn't got the most clean sheets in the league this season, and also XG wise, he actually performs pretty poorly. But I will explain today why XG for goalkeepers is a little bit of a lie. The easiest way to do that is by using an example. De Ligt's header in the United game was a very hard header to save. But from where De Ligt was positioned in the box, the amount of cover around him in terms of the chance and the angle that he was at means that that chance was a relatively low expected goals chance. That means that how often a player in that situation would be able to head on goal and score in that situation. So, with regards to that, the execution, though, was done very well by De Ligt in the United-Arsenal game, to which that David Raya had to make an excellent save to his left-hand side. Therefore, the save ability was a very, very good save. It was a difficult save to make because of a superbly good expected goals. A superbly good execution, which then would mislead the expected goals metric because realistically, it would be incredibly hard for De Ligt to score in that standpoint. So what I'm saying is that XG means that expected goals is a pretty much nothingness stat. Look to the game at the weekend, Fulham versus Arsenal, when Jimenez went through and shot in the only place that he could have to actually score a goal. Yes, David Raya probably could have saved that shot, in my opinion, and probably should have done more, but equally that is the only part in the goal that he could have aimed at to get the goal in that instance, and the execution of Jimenez's shot was superb. We also have to look further. Arsenal's defence is good. This means that it concedes low XG chances on the most part. Therefore, the chances that go in are usually ones that are executed superbly or where they have somehow passed it around the back line for whatever reason. So I think the better way to look at Raya and his ability in comparison to the league is his role suitability and ability to the Arsenal system. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because, for example, Trent Alexander-Arnold is widely looked at as a world-class right-back. Now, under Klopp, he was exceptionally good in the creative metrics. His crosses, his low block, mid-block passing ability to kill teams was superb. His assists count for themselves. But Trent has always had a question over his defensive ability. If you were to put Trent in a team that concedes a lot of possession, so for example Southampton, would he still be world class? Would he even get a chance to showcase his passing ability? Maybe not. So a player is only as good as the system that they're in, and the system has to allow for the player to excel at what they're good at. Another example of this would be Gini Wijnaldum for Liverpool. That's an easier one. He was a metronome in terms of his stamina, his ability to press at the time, and that elevated his personal level of quality more than his actual ability on the ball or ability as a player. Ederson for Man City, another example. Ederson is pretty well regarded as a top 5 keeper in the world and a world-class goalkeeper. But in terms of shot stopping, he is actually pretty ineffective. He's pretty poor, if I do say so myself. His ability is when he's got the ball with his feet at long passing. And therefore, Man City's play style, not allowing too many chances on goal, obviously not of late, they've been a bit poor, but overall, means that he doesn't have to be the best shot stopper. But the involvement to get their goalkeeper in build-up play, to need those long passes out from defence to their wingers who are running from goal, or the consistency with the ball at his feet to attract opponents onto him, mean that he is regarded as a world-class keeper because of what he offers to the Man City team. So I think that you have to look at the players' effectiveness in team system more than the players' individual basis. Because if world class was literally just who would get into every team in the world, every system in the world, and perform to an unbelievable ability, then you're only looking at what, 3 or 4 players across Europe that can do that. You're looking maybe Haaland. But then there's even questions like, for example, Mbappe, because he can't get in the left-hand side over Vinicius, or that system isn't working with them both. So it's very much up in the air. But for my definition of a top keeper, it's what they give to the team in question. So whilst shot stopping is important to a goalkeeper, Raya adds to Arsenal more than shot stopping is necessarily needed. For example, his calmness. Raya likes to put his foot on the ball and stand on the ball and just wait a second and let the opposition attackers press him, so he can either play it around the corner or play it to the fullbacks. And the reason for that is so that the onrushing team that is pressing then push forward. It opens space up in the midfield to play it either between the lines or alternatively play it behind the back line. So that is something that Raya likes to do. It's something that Ramsdale wasn't necessarily as good at because he got a bit nervy. Just standing on top of the ball, saying, hang on a minute, I've got this. Let's calm the game down. Let's suck the opposition onto you to open up space to make it better to play between the lines and easier for the outfield players to play football. The other thing is that Arsenal block defensively the central areas. It's very rare that teams will get through the central areas to get a shot on goal. Usually their shots come from wide areas where they have to cut in or alternatively cross the ball in. Now, Arsenal are built around dual monsters. The backline in Saliba and Gabriel are unbelievable defensive players in terms of aerial ability and proactive defensive ability. But one thing that Raya does excel at, more so than any other keeper, I'll put a stat on the screen now just to show you his crosses stopped percentage in the last 12 months, is his aerial ability at claiming crosses and high balls. That is what I believe Raya is the best in the world at, just claiming balls in terms of crossing and also set plays, etc. He dominates his area, and that is something that Arsenal really have clearly tried to push for. Arteta wants to play, if they're going to concede chances, which every team will, to direct the opposition down the wide areas so that then Raya can come and claim the aerial balls that may come into the box. So he's got that superpower. His superpower is definitely from high balls and crosses. And therefore, in my opinion, David Raya is world-class because he is world-class at what the system needs him to be. But again, it's all definition dependent. Would you say Trent is world-class? And if you would say Trent is world-class, why is he world-class? Would he get into every team in the world? Would he be as effective in every team in the world? That's basically the focal point of this point. If the answer is no to would he be as effective in every team in the world, then that's completely fine. That's your opinion. But equally, does that mean he's less of a footballer, or is he still the same level of footballer because you can only judge him on the system that he's in? We can only judge David Raya on the system that he is in, and therefore for me he is a top Premier League goalkeeper, and in my opinion, obviously Golden Glove last year, I believe he is the best keeper in the league at the moment. And as I said, the stats that do contradict that, but it's again down to personal opinion. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, one thing for sure, David Raya is definitely the perfect goalkeeper for Arsenal Football Club, and as much as I questioned at the time, Arteta made the right choice choosing him over Aaron Ramsdale. But I hope you have enjoyed. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you are new. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.